Hello everyone, my name is Himer Cervera from DappDojo. In this tutorial, we are going to create our first Hardhat project. To do this, we are going to need to install a few tools like Node.js, Visual Studio Code, and of course, we are going to create a new Hardhat project from scratch, and we will install OpenZeppelin Libraries. We will deploy and compile our contracts, and of course, we are going to compile and deploy our contracts to the Sepolia test network. And finally, we are going to verify our contracts. Okay, let's start with our tutorial. So if you want to know more about Hardhat, visit the website hardhat.org for more information. Here you can find a lot of tools, plugins, and of course the documentation that will guide you to the installation process, to more advanced tips and tricks. And of course, if you want to get deep into this excellent tool, then you should visit this website. In our tutorial, we are going to summarize this and we are going to provide the information that you need just to start as a beginner. The first tool that we need to install is Node.js. We are going to use Visual Studio Code. If you have other IDE, it's okay. You don't have to use this, but I would strongly recommend you to get familiar with Visual Studio Code. So if you want to install it, visit the website code.visualstudio.com. First, we need to install Node.js. If you do not have Node.js installed in your system, come to the website nodejs.org and install the version recommended for most users. If you feel more adventurous, then you can install the latest version, but make sure that you know what you are doing. In my case, I would recommend you to install this version because it is compatible with the current Hardhat version and also with the Solidity compiler. So if you want to avoid some troubles, just install the recommended version. It is very simple to install it. Please do it on your own. Once you have installed Node.js in your system, just verify your version. In my case, to verify the version, just type node-b and npm-b. Note that you don't have to install npm. npm is a Node package manager which is included within the Node.js installations. So you don't have to do anything else. As you can see here, these are my Node.js and npm versions. Of course, in your case, might be completely different. Now let's create a new folder. In this case, my folder will be called my project. Change to that project. And now install Hardhat. Now let's initialize a new Node.js project. Type the command npm init y. And now you have created your package.json file. As you can see here inside the my project folder, now you have your package.json file. Now let's install Hardhat. To install Hardhat, we need to type the command npm install --save depp Hardhat. All right, we have installed Hardhat. Now we need to initialize our new project. To initialize the project, just type npx Hardhat init, select the JavaScript project option, select the project root, agree with adding a new gitignore file, and then install the sample projects dependencies Hardhat toolbox. This is going to take some time. Let's wait for a second. Finally, we have installed our Hardhat project. As you can see here in this section, now we have a new structure. We have the folder contracts with a log.sol file, the node modules, a folder called scripts, where we can add as many scripts as we need, and also the testing folder. We added the .gitignore file. This file will allow us to ignore certain extensions, folders, or files. And of course, one of the most important files, the hardhat.config.js file. This is very important because we are going to define a lot of stuff here. We also have the package.json file and a readme file. This is not important for now. Okay, let's continue with our Hardhat setup. The next step will be to compile our contract to verify that the installation has been successful. The next step will be to compile our contract to verify that everything is working properly. To compile, just type the command npx hardhat compile. If everything goes well, you will see this message. Notice that now there is a new folder here. The name of the folder is artifacts, and you'll find the contracts ABI and also the bytecode for your files. This file is within the folder artifacts, contracts, log.sol, and the JSON file log.json, and you can find the log.json file. This is very important because this information will allow you to interact with your contract. Optionally, we can run and execute the testing file. Just type the command npx hardhat test. As you can see here, all tests have passed and everything is working properly. We are not going to review how to create this in this tutorial. We will do it in future lessons. If by any chance you need to test a specific file, just type the command npx hardhat test, but specify the name of the file that you desire to test. In this case, let's assume that we want to test the log.js file. So if we want to test specifically this file, just write the path and the name of the file. And this is going to work properly. Also, if by any reason you need to create new artifacts, just to make sure that you are working with the latest version of your smart contract, just type the command hardhat clean, and you'll see that the artifacts folder will disappear. To build the artifacts again, you just need to type the command npx hardhat compile. Sometimes we need to add external libraries to expand our smart contracts. I would strongly recommend you to visit the website OpenZeppelin, where you can find a lot of well-tested and audited libraries for your contracts. For instance, visit the website openzeppelin.com, go to the section Contracts, and then click on Start Coding. Here, you can install hundreds of libraries, or maybe not hundreds, but yeah, a lot of libraries. Just copy the command npm install at OpenZeppelin contracts. Let's go to our Visual Studio Code. Copy this npm install at OpenZeppelin contracts, and then here at the Node modules folder, you'll see that you have added a lot of libraries that you will use. For instance, if you want to create your new ERC20 token, you can add some extensions, utilities, and of course, the ERC20.sol library. This is very, very useful. Sometimes you need to add the upgradable version of these files, so you need to install the upgradable libraries as well. In this case, you need to install the upgradable version. So execute the command npm install at OpenZeppelin contracts upgradable, and then you need to also install the regular libraries. Just run this command, and now in your Node modules folder, in the folder OpenZeppelin, you'll see that you have the regular version of your libraries and the upgradable version. So keep in mind this for future implementation of upgradable contracts. Now let's review for a moment our hardhat.config file. This is a very important file because you're going to configure a lot of information in this section. As you can notice here, you are using the version 8.19 for Solidity. So keep in mind that you can change this in the future, but for now we are going to use this version for the sake of simplicity. Let's install .m, which is a library that will allow us to create .m files to store our private and sensitive information. Just type the command npm install .m, and now in our root folder, let's create a new .m file. Just make sure that this file is created within this directory. So now we have the .m file. Inside this file, we are going to create three variables. The three variables will be an interscan key, a secret key, and the Sepolia URL. We are going to obtain this information in a moment. Remember, if you compromise this file, you might lose all your funds, so be very careful. This is also another reason why you should include this extension in your .gitignore file. Okay, so please be very careful. Now we need to get our Sepolia URL. The RPC URL will be an endpoint that will allow us to interact with the Sepolia test network or with the Ethereum mainnet. So let's go to Alchemy. Alchemy is a company that will provide some services to communicate with the Ethereum mainnet. To create a new project here in Alchemy, just sign in or create a new account if you haven't done that yet, and then sign in with your credentials. Okay, so this is my Alchemy dashboard. If I want to create a new app, just select View All Apps, and then because I'm using the free version, I'm allowed to create one more new app. I'm going to create the app on the chain Ethereum, and I will create a new key using the Ethereum Sepolia network. The name will be Hardhat Tutorial, and I will add some description. Once I have added the description, just click on Create App, and now I can get my API key. Remember, do not compromise this information. So make sure you do not share your API key or your ERPC URL. Now we can copy this information and we will paste this in our .m file. Now please do the same with your secret key. If you are using MetaMask, you can obtain your private key from MetaMask, but be very careful. Make sure that you are using an account that is only for testing purposes and you do not have real funds there. So in case you compromise this tutorial or this information or this project, you are not going to lose your real money. So I'm going to do it on my behalf, and I'm assuming that you already copy and paste your secret key in this section. Let's open the Hardhat config file again. The first thing that we need to do in this section will be to import the .m file, .m, and now let's call our variables in this section. We are going to use the Sepolia URL that we just obtained, and also the secret key. Now the object process.m will have access to our variables in the .m file. Then we are going to create a new network. This new network will be called Sepolia. We need to specify the ERPC URL, which is the Sepolia URL. Also, we need to validate that this variable is not empty. So we need to add these extra characters. Then we need to specify the accounts or the account that we are going to use to pay for the gas and the deployment in the mainnet or the Sepolia test network. So here, the accounts will be our secret key. We need to add a few characters to make sure that this secret key is not undefined. If it is not undefined, then we are going to use our secret key. Otherwise, we are going to send an empty value. We are doing this because the variable accounts receives an array. Let's first create a local node. Let's run the command hardhat node. And by default, we are going to create a set of accounts, and we can use this as our local environment for testing purposes. Let's open a new terminal. Let's move to the folder My Project, and then now we can deploy our contract. To deploy it, run the command npx hardhat run scripts deploy.js. We need to specify the network. In this case, this is going to be localhost. This is the name of the default network. As you can see here, we have already deployed our contract to our local node. Yep, this is the information of the deployment. This is just a warning that this method is not working in this Hardhat version. So at this moment, please don't worry about this. Okay, so now we can deploy our smart contract to the Sepolia test network. Instead of specifying the local host, we can specify the Sepolia network. So now we are going to execute the same command, but specifying the Sepolia network. Please make sure that you correct this error. It's not network, it's networks. So now we are ready to deploy our contract. And this is going to take longer because now we are deploying to a live test network. Voila, we have deployed our contract to Sepolia. This is the address of the contract. If we want to verify that this contract has been deployed into Sepolia, let's go to etherscan, visit the website etherscan.io, then select Sepolia testnet, paste the address in this section, and look for the new contract. As you can see here, we have deployed this contract. This is transaction hash. This is like a receipt that your transaction has been properly created. And then this is some information that will be useful. For instance, the block that indicates where the contract has been created, the timestamp, and also who is the sender of the transaction and the address, and the address of your smart contract. Also, you will find here how much it costs you to deploy your contract to the test network. Let's go back to our project, and now if you find this very annoying to type this all over again, just copy this command, go to your package.json file, and add this as a script. For instance, you can create a new script here. Just add a new comma here, which could be deploy localhost, and create also a new script for the Sepolia network. Voila. So now if you want to deploy your contract again to the localhost, just type the command npm run deploy localhost. And you can avoid to keep writing all the command all over again. Also remember that you can use the name that you prefer. Now we are ready to verify our contract. This is going to be the last step. Verifying our contract means that the smart contract source code is equal to the bytecode that we deployed to the Sepolia test network. Now let's indicate in our config file that we are going to verify our contract. We are going to specify the API key, and we are going to need to obtain that variable from our .env file. Again, we need to verify that the variable is not empty, and we are ready to verify our contract. To obtain your etherscan key, you should go to the etherscan website and then log in and obtain to get your etherscan key, you need to configure an account and then go to the section API keys and generate your new key. Copy that information and pasted it in your .env file. I already did it because that's sensitive information. I'm not going to reveal it in this tutorial. Now we need to verify our contract. Just type the command npx hardhat verify, and then specify the network. And finally, just paste the address of the contract. You can go to etherscan and copy the address of the contract. And finally, the arguments that you sent. When you deploy this contract, let's verify the arguments here. You need also the amount of ether that you sent. In this case, the unlock time. In my case, I'm going to get that information here just because I forgot what was the unlock time. As you can see here, in my case, I have already verified this contract. I'm just going to recover that information just to show you the example of what you need to do to verify your contract. So don't worry if you cannot recover this value here. So this is the syntax of the command. Specify the network, specify the contract address, and the parameters that you send to your contract when you deploy it to the mainnet or Sepolia test network. Just enter. Okay, sorry, I had this error because I made another typo here. It's API key with a capital letter. Let's clear this and execute the command again. And voila, now the contract has been verified. So what happens when you verify your contract? You can come to this section and you will see that you can get a green check mark here, and then you can interact with your contract. You can connect your wallet. For instance, in this case, you can recover some information and then send some transactions. We are not going to do it in this case. For this example, you have the withdraw function. and of course the owner public variable and the unlock time public variable as well to interact with. Okay, congratulations, you have already successfully created your first Hardhat project. You also configure your basic Hardhat config file, you verify your contract, you added some OpenZeppelin libraries, you run some tests, you did a lot of stuff here. So if you want to go to the entire process again, just visit my Medium account and verify the posts related to this Hardhat project creation. Also, if you like this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. So thank you and have fun.